All right, hey everyone, it's Art here, and we're going to have a decidedly casual conversation today about your LinkedIn profile. If you intend to work in corporate fitness, you've got to be where your prospect clients are, and that's LinkedIn. You got to get out there. So, what we're going to do today is go through how to do it right. Now, a lot of people, including myself, have a LinkedIn profile that kind of looks pretty lousy. So what I've done is go to the guy in my local area who has done the best with LinkedIn that I know of. I want to introduce Marco Duffy. He's the owner and president of Marathon Sales. Marco?
Hey Art, how are you today? And I didn't say your profile sucked, I promise. I said that we could find some ways to improve it, but I stopped short of saying it sucked.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So, what we're going to do is actually fix my profile live and just record it while we go through Marco's presentation. He actually wrote this presentation, had it branded just for us at NCFI and for your use. So, I really want you to download this, go through it, and fix your profiles right away, even before you start to reach out to your first people. So, this is how to have a LinkedIn profile that gets noticed. So, Marco, do you want to start things off? And because you wrote this and
Sure.
walk through the first few.
Sure. You know, it's funny. I shared this recently with some folks in an industry, and they didn't even pronounce LinkedIn correctly. So never mind knowing what it was all about. But the point was this, that if you are in sales, if you're a professional, if you ever think you might want to get another job, or if you ever want to attract another employee, or do you want millions of business people, employees, recruiters, customers, HR reps to be able to find you in a split second? Do you want to share your professional message, your brand, your knowledge? I believe you do. And that's where social media and for business, LinkedIn comes in.
And I do want to point out HR reps. You see that in that fifth point down there. Obviously, that's going to be huge for all of us corporate fitness people. HR people are all over LinkedIn, and they're going to be this is where they'll find you. Right.
So if you answered yes, and I really hope you did, you really want to say yes, because 433 million people are on LinkedIn. It's the world's largest professional network, and there's 128 million in the U.S. alone. Now, we know they're not all in the same business as you, the same industry as you, have the same interests as you, but it's growing. There are 2 new LinkedIn members every second, and 40 million college students and grads join LinkedIn this year. So wow. You have to remember, there's a lot happening, and it's growing, and it is the future.
All right. So you want to get your LinkedIn profile in front of, for us, for our purposes today, right? HR people and or business owners. So they may not have an HR manager, but there's always somebody who's handling the benefits. In some cases, depending on the size of the company, it could be the business owner itself. So LinkedIn is where you go. It's the business version of Facebook, right?
Essentially. And more, because LinkedIn, and I like this phrase, it has the most business power. You are going to reach more people through LinkedIn, and more people are going to find you if you have a good profile. So.
All right. So tell us why. Here are the numbers, folks. These are real numbers out there with LinkedIn.
They bought LinkedIn. It was bought by Microsoft, not 26,000, not 26 million, but $26 billion. So the way I measure that, there's 26 billion reasons to be on LinkedIn.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So why is LinkedIn for you? Okay, so tell us what, we talked a little bit about the beginning, but go ahead and tell us why.
Well, you think about job searches, looking for new customers, networking, or is it that, hey, it's just another way when I eat lunch at my desk that I can pretend to work and fool everybody in the cubicle next door. And hey, shouldn't the company be doing the LinkedIn page? And that is absolutely not true. LinkedIn is not about the company. LinkedIn is about you. It's about who you know and who is attracted to you and who knows you.
I like this part. It's going to affect your ability to attract, engage, and connect. All right? Because most trainers, I'll tell you right now, personal trainer types, business owners, business owners are not on LinkedIn. They are on Facebook by the gazillions. But to approach corporate wellness and corporate fitness, you got to approach it like a business, and this is where you need to be to attract, engage, and connect with the people who are going to be your prospects.
And as we talk about attract, engage, and connect, and you mentioned HR reps and how important they are to you, I talked to several people I know in the HR business, some of whom work for some big companies, and every single one of them said to me the first place they go is LinkedIn.
Yep.
Whether it's for an interview or hiring a vendor or doing something like that, it's the first place they look.
Yeah. So I hope we've convinced you that the importance of it. So here's how to view LinkedIn now.
It's about your future and it's about your image. It's the new resume, the new proof source, the new testimonial. It's the new cold call. It's the new way to be found.
There you go. All right. So let's talk about this. Why LinkedIn has become so popular. And this is Marco Duffy. And tell us why this image that we're looking at right here is important. Besides Liam Neeson, who I really like, but
if I could do the voice, I would. But I do know who you are because I found you on LinkedIn. But if you Google yourself, which everybody that's selling anything, building a business, doing anything, you should be Googling yourself periodically to see what comes up. And you hope that it's something good and professional. However, when you Google yourself, 90% of the time, the first thing that's going to come up is LinkedIn. And if you are trying to attract new business, new customers, new opportunities, isn't that really what it's all about?
Right. I mean, to be first in Google under your own name is key. All right. So that's reason number one, right? So now that I can use Google, I come up first. How do I do LinkedIn?
Well, when you use the Google, go to the Google. So we're going to do LinkedIn today. So, yeah, but it's easy, and the first step with LinkedIn is have a good picture.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to pull my actual LinkedIn profile here. All right, I've got it all set to go, and here it is. Now, I personally think this is an okay picture. It reflects me. It's fairly casual because of the industry that I'm in. You can see the Wellness Consulting Group, although we'll talk about that title there in a second. But that is well representative. I'm not putting a picture up there that's me when I was 25. It's got to be realistic. This is not a dating site. So you don't have to worry about that kind of image. So that's talking about the picture. Let's look at some other examples of pictures that maybe not so good.
Okay. Well, when you take that picture, like you said, you want to have a good quality picture. You want to look like yourself, not you in high school. And I knew you in high school, and that you don't look the same. Neither do I, in fact. So, and wear what your work clothes, which in your business is fitness clothes. You want to look like you are, have a neutral background, and, you look a little scary in your picture. A little smile isn't going to hurt. But yeah, you have a good picture. I think it answers all of those questions. This guy, not so much.
Yeah. Now, if I'm going to hire somebody, am I hiring the guy with the beard to his cheeks?
He would be somebody I would like to party with, but I'm pretty sure he's not. We're not adding him to the payroll anytime soon.
Right.
So, there's me. How about that, huh? Yeah, so,
all right. So, pretty good picture. Obviously with the Boston background, skyline in the background there, we're on a rooftop shot, showing a smiling face, and this is you, and it looks pretty good.
And I'm in my natural element on a rooftop deck in Southie, so I think that tells the story. If the picture was better, it wouldn't be a picture of me. Yeah. So there's another good one. I don't think we're putting Andy on the payroll anytime soon.
No. I mean, why you would do that? He's a technical assistant, e-learning. I don't know. If you're looking for a professional position, do you really want that as your initial image?
No, it doesn't scream technology to me. So.
No. So, and explain this one. I saw this slide.
It's a pet peeve of mine, and maybe this isn't the worst picture, but don't let this be you. It shows the kind of effort that you're putting into something. This is your image. This is your brand. I don't want it to be my image or my brand.
Right. Yeah, they got to see who you are. People are going to connect with people, not a blank icon like that. So next, this is important. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, folks. So if you're recording or taking notes or whatever, here's where you got to start writing stuff down. So let's talk about the headline.
Well, I think the headline is the most important part of it, because really this should be where it tells your story. And if you quick and go check yours, I'm 90% certain yours is going to suck.
Right.
But
and I try not to take it personally. So this is because I was under the definite impression, and this one that I have highlighted right here is the title. And I put like 99% of the people in the world, I'm sure, I put, well, here's my job title, owner at Wellness Consulting Group, but that's really not what we want, is it?
It really isn't. And I think one of the things that happens, and this is the reason why so many people have their job title there as opposed to a headline, LinkedIn automatically puts whatever you put as your first job title, that's what it plugs in. So you can go with that, but I think If you have a story to tell, and I believe if you've spent this much time listening to this presentation, you think you do, then I think you need to be a little bit more creative and put something up there. So,
all right. So here's what I've done. I've done this ahead of time, of course. I'm not going to put my title or summary when we get to that on the fly. I mean, thought this out. So I'm going to copy this and go back to this. I'm going to edit this live. I'm just going to hit edit. I'm going to highlight what's in there and then paste my new title and save it. So now it's going to change it to corporate wellness activist, fitness fixer-upper, outspoken writer and speaker on all things health.
wow,
All right.
I want to hire you.
I kind of like that, you know.
Much better.
So yeah, and now that says a little bit about me. It's a little casual with the fixer upper thing, you know. So you're not going to get too stuffy here and put a job title in that really doesn't scream, you know, who you are. So make sure that you get something that's got a little thought to it. So here's an example that you put together.
Yep, just found this online. Rockstar executive, top performer. You know, that says something that I want to know more about Jerry. You know, I think that says a little bit more and leads us to, hey, I need to know more.
Yeah, he's got the picture. He's got that account.
He's got that going
executive
on, right?
look
Yeah, he
going,
does.
For
He
sure.
does.
You know, so so let's talk about your headline. Give us those details about what you want to. If you're going to sit down right now with a pen and paper and write down your title, what do you have in mind?
You want to tell us who you are, not what you are. It's not your job title. It's not your job. It's not the things you do. You want to talk about your skills and talents, identify your expertise, and I like this. Tell us why you are so spectacular. Make me want to be connected to you,
Right.
because I don't have to.
Right.
I can continue to search.
And that's exactly what I did when I wrote mine. I looked at this slide right here and said, all right, why do I think I'm special? You know, and I got exactly into it. I made sure I was speaking to my audience. And that audience can be trainers, it can be HR people. There are a couple of people that I deal with, right? But for the purpose of this profile on LinkedIn, I want to talk to HR people. So I'm a corporate wellness activist. That's the first thing they see. And it's specific, number 3 there, it's got some keywords in it,
Right.
you know, corporate
Right.
wellness, right? Don't put corporate fitness. Greg and I talk a lot about corporate fitness and keeping with our niche, but that's not the keyword. No one's going online to search on corporate fitness. They're searching corporate wellness, so keep that in mind. Right? And I try to be a little creative, almost a little flippant there, whatever. But yeah, so it's not a humdrum type of thing, and try to make it memorable.
Good memorable.
Yeah, right, exactly. Good memorable.
Because
not like the
people,
pictures.
you don't want to be remembered for the wrong thing, right?
Right. So, and salespeople should state their core marketing message. You know, what is it that's awesome about you? So let's look at Marcos. So go ahead.
There it is. So I am in the metal finishing industry, and I have been for life. And many metal finishers feel they're being punished. So metal finisher for life sounds more like a sentence. Plating, answers on demand. I want people to look at that and say, huh, this guy can answer my questions. That's good. And masking mysteries is something that in our industry people suffer with all the time. So I'm offering to solve what I hope is their biggest problem. So trying to be a little creative, trying to speak to my audience, trying to pull up some keywords, trying to create a desire that they want to continue to scroll down and see what it is that makes me different, what it is that I'm speaking about here.
Yeah, and I think that absolutely does that. Again, not your humdrum job title stuff at all. All right, here's some examples that you found on the internet of people who have probably done it correctly.
Absolutely, and Gordon is my favorite. Again, I just found these through using the Google, if you will. But, you know, to say you're the only person on LinkedIn who isn't a results-oriented team player with excellent interpersonal skills, I think I remember Gordon. I'm not sure I want to hire him, but I certainly will not forget him. He is good, memorable, no doubt about it. And Joan and Stephen, don't know them, but I think they've done a good job of telling us who they are instead of what they are.
All right, great stuff. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about yours. Put some time into this. It's going to be out there for a while. So,
Right.
And now tell us about, honestly, and it reflected in my summary, I didn't even know the importance of the summary. I just don't know LinkedIn very well, so tell me about it.
When you look at it, what you find is the summary is very important for a couple of reasons. One is it's your first impression. It's kind of a personal version of your resume. Gives you a chance to be a little authentic, genuine, talk about how amazing you are, as opposed to your resume, which is supposed to be somewhat rigid and doesn't necessarily have your personality in it, okay?
Right.
But you know what, Art? Can we jump back to your personal,
Sure.
your profile there for a second?
Yep.
Because I think this is an important area that I want to show folks. Can you go over the view profile as, Click on that. And then up above a little bit, it'll say, this is what your profile looks to connections. Now that's great. This shows that the connections can see your summary down below. Click on public though. I'd like you to click on public. Okay, this is what people who are not connected to you see. Now if you could scroll down a little bit, okay, look at your summary.
Right.
All right.
Track and field coach. Now, is that exactly what I want people to know about me?
I'm going to guess no.
It may be true. And yeah, I'm a certified strength coach. I've been doing that for like 30 years, but that's not why I'm here. So I'm not taking advantage of this at all. When I saw this part, people who are trying to find me who don't already know me, this is what they think I do.
Right.
So I am not a match for them at all in the world of corporate wellness. So let's go back and figure out how we can fix that, and how do I write a great summary?
Well, you want to be engaging. It's by you and it's about you. It's written in the first person. You can talk about yourself. It's okay. You know, you're not trying to describe your job description again. You know, you're talking to the people you want to notice you the most. And what I like to do, I like to have a call to action. You know, I like to ask questions. Do you want to solve this? Do you need to know this? Do you have this problem? Because I can solve it. And the other thing is, I like to include contact info in there because if we go back to that picture when we go back to the screen that shows your profile, your summary, you don't have contact info there. You could scroll up and down. You're hard to find.
Right.
You know, but if we put it in the summary, the public, the people that aren't connected to you, those are the people we want to find. They now have your contact info.
Right. So if I look at this, if I go back to view it as connections, so I can see the whole summary.
Yep.
And I've got a little video of myself in here, but that's it.
That's it.
You know, that's all I know. I thought there was actually more to it, and there isn't. So that's pretty tragic. So let's go and fix that. So I wrote up this ahead of time, and if you can see the screen here, I have used a lot of the techniques that Marco talked about. I asked some questions. Right, we'll get to that in a second. I have some bullet points down there to make it easy to read. I have a call to action, and I'm not going to read through this whole thing right now, but when I put it out there, it's definitely written in a certain tone. I fancy myself to be able to put a couple of sentences together, so I find solutions for your company. This is what I do, so it is a very different approach to explaining how awesome I am and why you need to contact me. And you see down the bottom the contact information. So what I'm going to do is, as we go along, I'm going to highlight this. All right, I'm going to copy it. All right, here's how I edit the profile. I'm going to go to Profile, up the top menu, Edit Profile. Then I'm going to scroll down to the summary area, and there's a little box here. Oh, there's a little pencil right here.
Right, yep.
And I click on that puppy, and there's a regular screen that you might expect to be able to write in. I'm going to highlight the foolishness that's in there, and I'm going to paste my really cool new one. Now here's a problem. I know you've run into this before. There's the editing capabilities in the summary are not particularly outstanding.
They don't give you a lot of options on LinkedIn, but I think you've done a good job. You've kind of set that aside, whether it's the bullet points you wanted to have, but I think you've got a good thing there that calls a little bit of attention to that, sets it out. So you cut and paste, tweak it a little bit, but you've done a good job.
I'm going in. I'm spacing things out a little bit, so it's for readability purposes. I'm putting a space between those questions I start things off with, and those questions are going to be one of those fairly obvious, we know what the answer is type of question to push people along. Okay.
Well, they're obvious to you, but they may not be obvious to that HR person you're trying to find.
Right.
And I like that where you wrote mostly. I like to fix things because you know what? That's personal.
Right.
That's something that's not on your resume.
All right. So this is my brand new summary. You don't know if there's a character limit here, do you? This can get pretty huge.
I've never run into it. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to point out one other thing while we're on the screen. Over on the right there, notify your network. Now, you have it shut off right now, which I think is probably a good idea, because when you do 10 changes to your profile, that will send out 10 notifications to all 1,500 of your connections that you just made 10 changes. So what I do is if I'm doing more than one thing on it, I will shut that off. But typically, you would want that on. So if you add a new skill, if you add a new endorsement, or hopefully you add a new testimonial.
Okay.
You
So
could
that's
you
right
would
here.
turn that on and let people see that you've updated your
So
resume.
maybe when you're all done with your changes,
It would be good,
Then,
yeah.
then turn that back on. So we're going
Right.
to save that and go back to our slides and see how we're doing. So I did all those when I wrote that. Now here is your summary. And cleverly, you have the bullet points in there with arrows and stuff. So I'm envious of your. Of your stuff,
I am the
but-
king of cut and paste, and I am not going to reveal my secrets. But yeah, I might have gone to somebody else's summary and stolen some of their their ideas and bullet points and just typed over it. But what I wanted to do again. Point out those questions, try to get somebody's attention. I've got some bullets and arrows to set that stuff apart. Use the keywords. I'm speaking directly to my audience. And then down the bottom, I've got my contact info. And you know what? One of the things that we talk about is offering value. And everybody talks about, oh, we value added, we do this, we do that, we bring value. You know what? In my summary, I'm trying to give value. I'm trying to give people answers up front before they buy something from me, before they call me and bring me in. I want them to look at my profile and say, hey, this is a guy that's already giving me some help.
Right. Good. So excellent. You're giving them value. You're giving them something before you're asking them to click on you, follow you, like this, or share that. So you got to give them something first. It really is that reciprocity thing, and people will be more inclined to look upon your profile in a
Right.
positive manner. So.
Right.
All right. So the rest of the story.
Well, this is where, we talk about I think we've covered the most important things. We've got a picture that looks like us, that tells people, hey, this is the guy that I might be doing business with. We've got a headline that captures their attention and tells who we are, not what we are. And we've got a summary where we speak to people. But there's a whole lot of other stuff on LinkedIn, quite a lot actually. And, you've got work experience, volunteer experience, certifications, organizations, honors awards, recommendations. There is so many other things out there that you can update. And it's a good idea to go through that and add some of that, especially if you're able to certify, if you're able to
Right.
provide some documentation that says, hey, I am and can do who I say I am.
Right, and this is important because this stuff though is a little more straightforward. You don't have to be all like witty and engaging stuff like we've been talking about so far in your headline and your summary. This is a legitimate, simple, straightforward summary of your certifications, your education, those things like that. So you can be a little more dry, if you will, here. But let's talk about what else is going on. You want to be very, very complete here. Don't leave anything off. You'd be surprised at some of the accolades you actually do have, some of the things you've done, and make sure they're in there. Leave nothing out.
Absolutely. And be creative. There's no reason why you can't talk about who you are. This is the place to do it, So, if you volunteered places, put that down, because I think even HR people look at the volunteer. Believe it or not, there was a statistic I saw that said something about HR people are 32% more to grant an interview to somebody that has good volunteering experience.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things you can do to be creative and tell your story.
Great. So additional information. Again, this is one of those sections I wasn't even aware of. What do you use this for?
Well, what I did was that there's advice for contacting Marco was a big part of it. So I put all that in there. There was room. So if somebody is skipping by some of the other things and says, hey, I just want to talk to this guy, they're going to get another quick snapshot of who I am and what I do, the extensive things that I can bring to the table. And again, my contact information is there. My website is there, all of that.
Okay, so good. Make a note of that. You go down to additional information. Make sure it's easy for people to find you and what you do. Give me a mini version of that title we talked about, of everything else we just talked about.
Right.
So, for example.
Quick certification, something I earned a long time ago. And this is, again, I put in the slide there, notify your network.
Yeah.
Again, if I'm spending a lot of time on it, making a lot of changes, I don't want to bombard people, because when I put something up there that I really do want them to see, I don't want them to just delete that
Right.
notification. So,
Yeah.
so certification is up there. And this is something that you cannot buy. Recommendations. Having somebody, in their words, tell them why you're so amazing is huge, because no matter how well you say it, somebody else will always say it better. And here, Terry, I flew out to Rochester, did a presentation, and he was more than kind enough to do that. And one thing, it never hurts to ask for a recommendation. couple of suggestions: don't send them an email. Call them, ask them in person, say, hey, you know what, because of this reason. And then if you want to follow up with an email, including, maybe write something down that they can cut and paste or alter it, there's no reason why you can't do that. But you know what? Make the phone call. Reach out and ask them personally.
Yeah, and I have some good solid testimonials and recommendations, and I haven't put them in here yet.
Yeah.
So that's a mistake. And I will certainly do that before I start really pushing this in front of HR people.
It's a great idea, too. If you have something like that, you can put it on, you can share a testimonial in your summary, too.
Oh, there you
There's
go.
no reason why not, where everybody will see it. So.
Right. So what can you do on your end to get a little more notice once you've done your profile? So let's assume it's all done. You got your recommendations in there. Now what?
Well, you know what? When we look at LinkedIn all the time, and people do, right? You sit there, you kind of scroll through, and sometimes you look at stuff and you say, oh, that's interesting. Just by liking something, people get notified that you liked a post. It tells people that you read something, you found a website, you found a connection that has some interesting things, and you can give it a like or a share. Even a share is nice because you can just share it, then it ends up on your wall and your contacts get, hey, Art McDermott shared this information. So it's easy and painless. And if you're somebody like me who tries to put content up there and you shared something that I put on there, thank you very much. We are now friends for life. So, the other thing is there are a lot of groups out there. And a lot of times you'll see questions. People are asking questions. If you know the answer, go ahead. Answer the question. It doesn't hurt. It gets you visibility, and the other people in that group are going to start to look to you as a perceived expert, that you have these answers to some of these questions. And Art, I know you like to write.
Yeah.
Can you write? Can you be creative? Posts and publications are what people see. And I tried to put some of both up. I actually try to put something up on LinkedIn once a week. And just between you and I, Tuesday and Wednesday mornings between 7 and 9 a.m. are the most common times people are looking on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
It really is. Yep. So if you put that on there's a good chance. I always post on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. People are still getting it, still at their desk drinking their coffee. So if you can write, if you can put a picture up and put some words around it, or if you can write a 1,000-word article, a publication, you can post that up there. It gets you a lot of views. And again, it justifies you as an expert in your field. And just so you know, a lot of times what I do when I do write something, I cut and paste it and I email it to some of my customers. Because if it comes from LinkedIn, it looks more official. It looks like like it came out of a magazine or something. So, and then you can video it. Maybe this is where it gets a little scary for people, but it is a powerful way to deliver a message. And you've got a good video on your
I do.
LinkedIn page.
I did an interview, a professional interview, just a number of years ago now. But it was very well done. It's high definition, it's good quality, and a good interview questions. I tell my core story actually in that video, and a lot of people have seen it. So if you're comfortable in front of the camera, absolutely take advantage of that. It's the best way to get out there.
Or share arts.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is me giving it a like, and you see at the top there it says Marco Duffy likes this.
Yeah,
my connections will now see that. Right. So they know that I like that, and I'm trying to do my friend Raymond a favor here. So, and don't worry, it's not a commitment. Raymond doesn't get to move into your house or something if you like something. You don't inherit 100 basketball players from Lawrence, Mass. coming to your house. It's just a like.
Yeah, good. And creating posts. You showed me this one the other day.
Yeah, this was a great one. A picture I found on LinkedIn. I actually had a customer that had a problem, and I thought, hey, this is a great thing to put up on LinkedIn. Put it up, and look, if you see there, it got 458
That's
views.
It's
up. It ended up being over 650
wow.
by the time it was done. I forget how many likes and shares, but interestingly enough, 2 of those shares, one of them, a woman at a company I do not do business with, shared it. And tagged 2 other people in it and said, hey, this is just what we were talking about the other day. Now, this woman all of a sudden is putting me up there as an expert and saying, look what this really smart guy wrote. And hey, Bob and Gary, we should be taking a look at this stuff. And it increased my profile views. And if you look up the top there, you can see that, 16 people viewed my profile in the last 7 days. A lot of that is driven by these types of posts.
And now, if you're a fitness person, you are by definition the authority to HR. A lot of HR people have never been to a gym. We all know that. We know the typical HR person. All right, you are the expert. So if you have some interesting post that's going to help them somehow, maybe it's related to a transformation contest, how to implement a contest. Maybe it's simply about nutrition or even mobility in the workplace and sitting too long, something like that. You're helping them out because you are the expert. Make sure you get perceived that way.
Before you click, because even on this one here, okay, what do you see? You see my picture, you see my headline,
Right.
that's. I just want to point that out again. It just shows how important that is, because that ends up on everything.
Absolutely.
So, here's some publishing that I've done, some articles I put up on LinkedIn. Some of them got some good views and some shares and some likes and comments and things like that. So, yeah, it's not bad. These were just the last three that I did that I just cut and pasted. I thought the pictures looked good. But, it's really easy, and you've got some writing talent, and a lot of people will read these and share these. And, interestingly enough, one of my posts, it was the Murphy Was a Plater, just in the last week, somebody from India shared it, and it inspired. I got like 20 more likes and shares after that. So
Great.
it was somebody literally on the other side of the world sharing that. So
tell me about this.
Well, this is Facebook, not LinkedIn, but I like this picture so much that I had to have it. So this guy was really creative. But there's a background picture available. There is space. It's the wide picture across the top of the page. So if you go to the next slide, I believe shows mine. Maybe not. Can we go to yours? Do you have?
I do not have.
You do not have one. So
I have. We'll look at mine.
Yeah, let's look at yours and see. Maybe we can show folks how to do that.
So here is
okay.
My profile.
See up at the top there, the little camera. Add a background photo.
And let's go ahead and do that right now. We happen to be in the right directory here, so I am going to add the NCF.
There you go.
We'll go.
It's a little big.
A little busy, but you get the idea. So I'm going to save it just for now. I can always fix this at another time. So, but people get the idea, of what's going on, and so I have. That's probably not the ideal image, but we just did that on the fly right now. But there you go. I didn't even know this was an option to do it, much like Facebook cover images on your page.
Maybe not the one of you with your head sawed off, but it would be pretty good. So,
right. So let's go back. Jumped ahead a couple of slides there, looking for that. So we already saw our cover page. Here we go. So endorsements.
Down here, endorsements. A lot of times, people will endorse you. You accept them. And there's some of them are pretty good. This is an actual real one using the F-bomb. People have 16 people, 15 people think that whose ever endorsement this was, it was not me, think that he's pretty good at that. But you'll find it. People and you have friends, you have associates endorse each other. I'm sure you've got a million of them down the bottom there.
Yeah, so there's my experience, there's jobs, there's certifications, products that I produce. Now here's my skills and endorsements. And as you would imagine, there's fitness, nutrition, athletics, strength training, public speaking, coaching, exercise physiology, exercise prescription, and Art also knows about this other stuff down here. So obviously I want to emphasize the corporate wellness. So would you go out and say, hey, can you endorse me for corporate wellness?
Sure.
Do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that.
It's kind of ranked up here, isn't it? It tells you how many people have said this. And so fitness and strength training for me are far and away the highest. And maybe I want to get away from that, right? Maybe I want corporate wellness to be number one. Who knows?
If you look, there's a little arrow over there, up and down. You can adjust those. You can change that. So if you want to move strength training up to the top, you can now drag it up there.
Oops. Okay.
That's okay. I want to be endorsed. So there you go.
All right.
And remember, these endorsements aren't you saying you're a fitness expert. 59 other people said you were a fitness expert.
Okay.
So you can manage the endorsements. You got to fool around with it a little bit, but you can move these things around. You can put them in the order that you want to. So, but having other people say that you're these things is a big, big deal. So
okay, great. So
that's it.
Okay.
if
awesome.
If it wasn't for your LinkedIn profile, I wouldn't know what you were ready to do. So I think our next one, hopefully, we'll have a part 2.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I hope you got something from that. I hope that today you're going to go out and change your profile right away. Good luck, and we'll see you out on LinkedIn.